From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday on LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021, as a deal will likely be happening in the next 2 to 7 days. I have the latest details breaking at noontime. Then, LA told you so. A recon no one knows anything about. Why has this been the big fault of the Democratic Party? I'll explain it to you in this recording. Then, the price is right. A $1.7 to $2 trillion recon is what Congress is looking at. And what does this mean for you? I have all the latest details of where the negotiations are going for this recon at noontime. Then, in and out, not the hamburger, but the programs. Programs coming in and then going back in and out. What happened? Situation changing by the hour, on the hour. I have the latest rundown of which programs have been removed and which ones have been gutted and which ones have been put back in. Then, student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven across the board. What's going on and when would this happen? This is the latest details, as the president is now offering an additional sum of money to be forgiven as well. I'll explain it to you in this big noontime broadcast. Then, breaking news as we hear the first words about fifth stimulus for several weeks. It's happening right now at noontime. And then as we look back on the first 1.5 years of this channel and 140 million views, what have we learned about ourselves and our family and our community and our love for one another? I'll look back and look forward as to what we've seen over the last year and a half. This is a big noontime. A lot of breaking news. It's happening right here. Direct and live from Santa Monica. Hope the weather is good where you are. It starts right now. Hey, good noontime, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day and I hope the weather is good where you are. A deal could be happening in your recon as early as tomorrow. I have the latest details. A recon that no one knows that even exists. What went wrong? And a recon that's getting reduced to potentially 1.7 to 2 trillion. It's all great news for you in this recording. Then we turn back over to COLA and the incredible details of student loan debt forgiveness being proposed. But more programs could be out of the recon before we get to those student loan debts and that COLA. And it's absolutely wonderful as fifth stimulus gets its first announcement, as we've seen for many days. It's happening right today. And then we turn back over the last year and a half and what we've learned as a family of this channel. 140 million views. What it means for you and this family as we go into our 1.5 year anniversary as a family this weekend. This is LA, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family, and 140 million views in a year and a half. Like this video and consider becoming a member so you get that newsletter every day. It's coming out tonight at 7 o'clock. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Let's go right into this incredible recon, and this recon pays the viewers of this channel a lot of money. It's a recon for all people across the board. Single people, married people, people with kids, people without kids, seniors, young people, people in red states, people in blue states. And it's a recon that has 3 clusters of checks so far passed, but some of the programs being removed, some of the programs being reduced. I have the whole rundown, as it's a very fluid situation across the board. We go over each of these clusters one at a time, but remember, you as a viewer of this channel will get upwards about $15,000 from the programs across this recon. Let's cut to the first cluster of checks and see which ones are in, staying in, and which ones are getting removed. Well, hazard pay, and that hazard pay is incredible. It's staying in there with the $4,000 of elder care. Hazard pay broadened the eligibility for the earned income tax credit, increasing the amount of money. So the essential workers will get that money across the board. Then elder care, $4,000 a year of elder care, $4,000 a year to care for young children as well. They got college grants in there. to the university, to the student, and the Pell Grant made tax-free. And then they got money in there for the home. Did I wake you up on that one? That always works. Home repairs got in there totally free if you live in a low-income community. It's staying in there. But the CTC, the child tax credit, really, really getting reduced dramatically. We were looking up to $300 every month, every year for 18 years, $51,000 a child. Not happening. Then we looked like it was going to go to 10 years, then 5 years. The latest detail on Noontime, 1 year. 1 year, $300 a month every month for up to 1 year, up to $3,600 a child. Then they got money in there for the great bikes and cars. Up to 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike, $7,500 for a new electric car, personal use, a little bit more if it's for business use. Those are staying in there as well. We have 3 add-ons, items that are not in there. They're being pushed to be added in there. And the first add-on comes from Maxine Waters. It is $25,000 for the purchase price of your first home. Huge. And so far, we don't know much about the status of this add-on. We do know that Maxine Waters wants to give you $25,000 for the purchase price of your first home, and this would be huge. But on the other hand, Maxine Waters does have a provision in this recon, which is about $200 billion for rental assistance, the rent that we always cover on this channel. Already in there, a push underway to remove it. It's so far still in there. No further updates on that as well. Here comes Suck and Cluster, and we have one item in here absolutely removed and then put back in. Wait a second. That's sort of confusing. Let me go over all the details. Home repairs and paid family leave. And then we got one that caused a joke last night, but also caused confusion. Paid family medical leave. This is $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 more per year. $800 a week if you make $35,000 a year, and $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. Family leave, you have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. Medical leave, you have to stay home because your son broke his leg. Household tax credits, child care tax credits, and dental vision. Pre-kindergarten, tuition-free community college, and then money to weatherize your home. More home money? Yes, more money for that home. This money is not just for low-income communities. Definitely need to weatherize your home. My favorite expression of 2021, weatherize your home. Definitely need to weatherize your home if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. As I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House, and wherever possible, keep them out of the Senate. So which of the provisions in here is out and then in, and then which of the provisions is in jeopardy? Community college was out about 24 hours ago today. 24 hours ago yesterday. It was out. It was in the middle of the day. It was out. And Jalapal told us it's out. She said it's out. I said it's out. Jalapal says out. Nancy obviously tuned in and said, LALATE said it's out. It's not out. So Nancy late yesterday, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, said, I saw the reports. It's back in. That's literally her quote. That's literally her quote. It's sort of like that scene in that mafia movie. Every time they take me out, they try to pull me back in. I know I'm butchering it. I don't know what the exact line is, but you know the point. Then a paid family medical leave. Oh, boy. This is the one that Nancy Pelosi said yesterday that I have changed more diapers than anyone else in this room. And she was worried that paid family medical leave was going out. And I said, no, she said that it's staying in there. And I made the joke on Evenings LA last night that diaper stimulus is still in there. And people said, diaper stimulus? We're getting money for diapers? No. It was a joke. It was a joke about family medical leave. Let's turn to the second add-on that's on top of that. That's $250 billion for Bob Casey. And that is the money for home health care. No update about this one yet. We do not know if it got in there yet. Bob Casey proposing $250 billion to provide you home health care. If you're a senior or person on disability, great news across the board. How would this work? It's basically for people who can't afford it, and you have your son and daughter staying home and not making a living because it's too expensive to get home health care. Now it'd be free. Bob Casey would get big money to city, county, and state, offer it to you for free, and then your son and daughter could actually go to work and be back in the workforce. Let's turn to the third cluster checks, and one of these is absolutely coming out. What I do in there. One of these items in this third cluster is literally going out. Oh, I know what I did. There I go. Yeah, it's like cluster on top of cluster. One of these checks in the third cluster is removed, and a few are in jeopardy. So we have free school meals for all checks. We have tax break checks. We have cheaper prescription medication. We have free internet. We have farmers checks, clean energy. we have workers, and we have Medicare, dental, vision, and hearing care. Whoa. This cluster is a cluster mess because this is the real battleground. It's like a bloodbath when you get to this third cluster. So, clean energy. Not all the climate checks, but one of the big climate checks. Clean energy removed that particular check removed last week, as I said in a world exclusive on this channel at the time. President got the message from Joe Manchin. Listen, folks, I'm not doing your recon if you leave that in there. Take it out. President took it out. And ever since then, Joe Manchin has been an angel, has been a darling, has been nirvana. As soon as that provision was taken out by the president, Joe Manchin has been absolutely wonderful during these negotiations. The provision stayed out. Next, the cheaper prescription medication being worked on, that language for Kristen Sinema. Number 3, the dental, vision, and hearing care provision. That's Bernie's. It's a big battle over this one. It's coming up later in this video. Stay with me. I have a whole rundown. We're going to go over all the provisions in, out, and that one is the one that's making Bernie furious. Then we have the lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. That's Bob Casey. And in exclusive, I can report that Bob Casey is looking to drop the Medicare eligibility age from 65 currently to 60. He's a 61-year-old Democrat from Pennsylvania. The third add-on, of course, is that IRS monthly stimulus check that has 3 things going for it at the moment. That 3 things are the following. 1, that Chuck Schumer wants to add it. 2, that we have some House members that want to add it after we have the House bill. And number 3, that we have the number 1 senator in play saying advocate to the finish line. Let's go over what's at issue. When you're looking at the Bob Casey 250, the Maxine Waters 25,000, or the MSC, these are add-ons to what would become proposed legislation. Where are we right now? As we go into the end of this week, the Democrats are looking to get an agreement by the end of this week. That's not a bill. They're looking to write the bill and introduce it to the House by the end of next week. Well, we have House members AOC, Omar, and Jalapal, and Pelosi all representing to viewers of this channel. They would add that MSC provision after it's a House bill, but before a House vote. So that's one opportunity. And Omar's office telling that to one viewer in the last 2 days as well. If they don't add it on the House side after a House bill, but before a House vote, then the next opportunity is the Senate side. And that is a critical part of the equation. It's the 2-day vote-a-rama on the Senate. If you've been with this channel for a while, you see how the senators do totally different things than the House members. One of the examples was the following. The senators wanted to get your debt forgiven, and they knew that if your debt was forgiven, you would have to pay taxes on it. Imagine if you have $20,000 of debt being forgiven later in this video. You have to pay taxes on it if it was not for what the senators did for you during the vote-a-rama in January. They put a provision in at the vote-a-rama that says debt that's forgiven is tax-free. So that saved you $15,000 to $20,000 in taxes you would have to pay out of your pocket. So the senators do a lot of things, and one of the things they want to do, they want to insert a monthly stimulus check provision. Chuck Schumer's office tells Debbie Applegate last week, tells Donnie's wife the week before, told another viewer going to last weekend, he's inserting that monthly stimulus check provision, and he's not the only person on the Senate side. We have Ron Wyden, Bob Casey, Chris Coons. We also have Bernie and Liz Warren all saying they're going to provide it as an add-on. What is the vote-a-rama? It's a 2-day event at the very end. It's a 2-day event in which they introduce changes to whatever was passed by the House side. They go last, the senators. And who's in charge of the vote-a-rama? Chuck Schumer. Who's in charge of what calls for a vote? Chuck Schumer. Who says he wants to insert a monthly stimulus check provision? Chuck Schumer. Who determines what you wear to the vote-a-rama? Mitch McConnell. Because he's so fashionable. I mean, he's just very, very fashionable. He just, you should see his filibuster outfit. There you go. That is the second part. The third part is, of course, that big message from that chief of staff. That big message from that chief of staff basically says, hey, listen, you need to push until you are over the finish line. Let's look at that message right here. They have now received in total between congressional senatorial offices more contacts of advocacy from LALATE and the Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. That's 3 million. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from LALATE viewers. Now they have more of a better understanding of what the average Americans are trying to do and make through this pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories from LALATE viewers. And they have the voice of the people across the nation in you, LALATE, as you have become too loud to be ignored. Very, very kind. The last message, let's read on air together because it concerns you and it concerns me. Please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as you are the professional voice of the people. You have become LALATE, and push until this becomes law. Very, very kind. It's also a big message for us. You need to push and advocate. Have you made those phone calls today? Have you made the phone calls yesterday? You have to call the senators, the House members. I need it because of this. I need it because of that. You need to call. Why? You need to call because it may not be in the House bill. It may be added to a vote. It may be added as an amendment after there's a House bill, but before as a House vote. It may not be in the past House bill, but be added during Senate vote-a-rama. You need to push as well to have them added during vote-a-rama. A lot of steps still upon us, and there we are. In the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up. It's going to be information overload, as we called it last night on Evenings LA. A deal's happening, and the deal could be formulated as early as the next 24 hours. What does this mean? The price is right. With a $1.7 to $2 trillion price tag at issue, Joe Manchin suddenly becoming Nirvana, an angel during the process, as certain programs were removed that he didn't like, and progressives were removing some of their programs. But which programs were moved were put back in. Very fascinating. Student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven by the weekend. And then COLA. You're going to hear for the first time on Noontime the first update about fifth stimulus. It's not COLA, but it's about fifth stimulus in several weeks. And then we look at the 1.5-year anniversary of this channel as we go into a big weekend. So much news across the board. It's all breaking on Noontime. Stay with me. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. See you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. In the second half of this video, we go over the breaking news as a deal could be happening as early as tomorrow on a recon that'll pay you upwards of $15,000 as a viewer of this channel. It's a lot of money, and I'm going to show you how to get that money as soon as it becomes law. A recon where Americans don't know it even exists, let alone what's in there. What went wrong with the Democrats? I have the latest details. The price is right. 1.7 to 2 trillion. How long will the programs run if they are 1.7 to 2 trillion? I'll explain the latest details. Programs in, programs out. Climate and college removed yesterday and put back in by the end of the day. What went wrong and why did it get fixed? Student loans, more debt could be forgiven by the weekend. COLA going up. But the first big update about this stimulus, and it's incredible, in several weeks. I have the latest details on that as well. And then as we look forward into the weekend, this channel approaches its 1.5-year anniversary. 140 million views. What has it taught us about ourselves, ourself, and our family? I see all the love in the live chat during the commercial break, and this is LALATE, so subscribe. Coming up next is Afternoons LALATE. Excuse me, this is Noontime LALATE. Coming up at 1 o'clock is Afternoons LALATE. This video will automatically take you there. And then we have the big Afternoons LALATE show at 3 o'clock. Over this last week, evenings LA shows have been totally different than afternoon shows. So do not miss both the 3 o'clock and the 5 o'clock evenings shows because they're quite different. Some programs are getting changed. Some programs are coming in, not TV programs, stimulus programs. So with that, I don't want you to miss anything across the board. And with that, subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Let's turn to the details of what is unfolding right now in the process to get this over the finish line. Well, it is a very, very fluid situation. But one thing fluid is that a deal could be happening as early as tomorrow. Legislators now anticipate that a recon deal could be finalized as early as tomorrow. Let's go over all the credible details right now. What's at issue? Well, Jalapal says it's going to get done. Jalapal says we're going to get both the recon and the roads and bridges done. They're going to get done. It's a messy process. Democracy is not easy. Negotiation's not easy, says Jalapal. There are differences. Everybody knows the differences. We're going to bridge them together. We're going to get together because we got to deliver both bills, both the roads and bridges and the Build Back Better Act, which is your recon, to the president's desk. Jalapal met with Joe Manchin earlier this week, and her comments came after that meeting. And she says her meeting with Joe Manchin was a great time to spend with him. More about that in 1 second. Pelosi and Schumer have told the Democratic caucuses they believe that the agreement will be reached by the end of the week so that the vote would be next week. Then Senator Chris Coons, Democrat Delaware, the first guy to tell viewers this channel, WR, that he was going to insert a monthly stimulus check IRS provision, says that we're getting very close there, folks. The gaps are closing. The vibe of a caucus is totally different. Folks are more clear-eyed about the situation. We're going to get it done. There's really a lot of reasons to get it done because December is a very bad month in general, says Coons. John Tester says, I think we've gotten to the point where things are moving along pretty well. Let me give you my insight about what's going on. What's going on is that there's been really a series of fundamental changes. What really started the ball rolling was that clean energy provision in that third cluster, which Joe Manchin had said is a deal breaker. I'm not even going to come to the table if that's in there. Take it out. I had told you last week the president took it out on a world exclusive. It is out. It's staying out. That is what got everything rolling. That was the first thing. The second one was that as soon as the moderate Democrats made it very clear they're getting off the $3 trillion and down into the 2s, then that plus removing the horrible provision Joe Manchin didn't like and Jalapal meeting with Joe Manchin and having a very, very cordial, nice conversation. At that point, Joe Manchin became Nirvana. Joe Manchin at some point became an angel because he really sort of saw that provision in there just sort of like a slap in the face. He'd been telling people, take it out. They weren't taking it out. He said, you're not hearing me. Take it out. And once they took it out, he became Nirvana. He was telling people what he doesn't like. The progressives are saying, well, we're going to modify it. And it literally became a fast track process. Kristen Sinema, not so much. Kristen Sinema is causing problems on the back end with the corporate taxes and the wealth tax. She's not telling people her position on it. And this is with 48 hours to go or 24 hours to go for this proposed milestone of a deadline. I have more about that coming up in a second. But Joe Manchin, absolutely incredible. Next, what is also really sort of the issue is this December situation. December is a horrible month to do legislation. You've been with this channel last year. You know how bad December is, so they do not want to bunt kick this into December. Next, LALATE for the win. You for the win. You know that there's a recon. You know what's in the recon. By the end of this video, you're going to know what's in and out and what's being modified. Guess what? A new CBS poll released this week says 90% of Americans, 90%, all Americans, red states, blue states, 90% of Americans don't even know a recon exists. Of the 10% of Americans that know a recon exists, they cannot tell you what's in there. This is why the situation has been the way it is. I've been detailing this over the last few months. You've been very informed, and there's always someone who jumps in the live chat saying, I haven't heard about this. I haven't seen this on broadcast media. I haven't seen it in print media. I don't know why no one's talking about it. Democrats now admit their failure on that subject. Majority Whip Dick Durbin, Democrat out of Illinois, was asked by a reporter, have you seen the CBS poll where only 10% even know what's in the recon? He says, I don't doubt it. I think the Democrats are at fault. Democrats undersold the recon, underperformed the recon for too long. Now is our chance to get it right, hopefully. And it is. The price is right, 1.7 to 2 trillion. What does this mean for you? What I'm going to go over is how the programs will be short in durations, but they won't be inherently removed. You're seeing a lot of prices, 2 trillion, 1.9, 1.7. Let's go over the details. Over the last few months, I've delivered a lot of excuses on the durations of the programs. At 3.5 trillion going into this week, the programs were running on average 10 years. So 10 years, 3.5 trillion. Over the last 2 weeks, I said this is very easy. We can live with 5-year programs. Half of 10 years is 5. Half of 3.5 trillion is 1.7 trillion. So if you cut the programs in half, 5 years, that's 1.7 trillion. Guess what? That's a doable number. What are the three numbers at issue? The moderate Democrats say they want 1.7. Perfect for us. That's about 5-year programs. The president told the Democrat caucus this week, we're going to do 2 trillion. That's great for us. That's about 7-year programs. The moderate Democrats, I really think they're going to go to 1.9 because what is 1.9? They said they're fine up to 1.9. They start to get seasickness after 1.9. Absolutely. 1.9 looks like about 6-year programs. Great. Our issue is we need big checks this year, next year, the year after that. That's at least 3 years. We don't need to worry about year 6 or year 7. The reaction has been great across the board. Debbie Dingell, who's a Democratic from Michigan, says the president has been decisive. He's showing leadership. I think it's going to get done this time. Patty Murray, Democrat of Washington, says there's a real consensus this time. We all see the timelines, and it's a struggle, but we're going to get it done. And then Steny Hoyer, who's the majority leader in the House, says we're working both very hard to get both of these done, and success is towards the end. So, what provisions are in and what provisions are out? If you like fantasy football, get ready for fantasy stimulus. I feel like I'm trading stimulus programs to the other state. It's just programs in, programs out. It's just really all over the place. On Afternoons LALATE, I reported to you that Jalapal had said, community college out. I guess Nancy tuned in and watched the video because she said by evenings, who told you community college is out? It's still back in there. Also, same situation with climate. We were told a lot of the climate was out, and then apparently some of it was put back in. Here's the quote from Jalapal midday yesterday. There will be some higher education, but it won't be the free community college. Well, here's timeline, here's big cuts, and then get that pen and paper ready because we're going to go down the roster of your stimulus programs, which is in, which is out, and which has got to reduce. First timeline. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer says, I think members are in a position where they want to get something done and they understand everyone's in the tent, but we have close margins. Nancy Pelosi told reporters that it's very possible the agreement will be reached by the end of this week. When they say this week, it could mean Friday, it could mean Sunday. We continue to be on schedule, says Pelosi. We have a goal and we have milestones, and we have met every milestone along the way in our timetable, and we will be where we need to be to reach our goal. Absolutely. She's correct on that. Then big cuts. Ben Cardin says, I think that we should expect some more cuts, but not substantial. And then we have Chuck Schumer, who said, we're getting very close to an agreement. We want it to be finalized by the end of the week, but we must all keep going. And then when asked about community college being removed, and when asked whether paid leave is getting cut back, Pelosi said, news to me late last night. That's not a decision. Here comes that quote. When asked whether paid leave was being removed, Pelosi said the following: I've changed more diapers than anyone in this room, which was cause for my joke on Evenings Off LA last night, which was, so your diaper stimulus is still in there. People took it as a straight remark, and they said, diaper stimulus? We're getting checks for diapers? No, it was a joke. It was referring to Nancy saying that paid family leave, medical leave isn't there. Okay, so here comes your rundown. This is the latest update as of right now. It could change by evening to LA. This is how it is as of 11 a.m. Midday right now. Child care tax credit in, but not at $51,000. It's not going to be 18 years. It's not going to be 10 years. It's not going to be 5 years. At the moment, it's 1 year, which would be about $3,000 to $3,300. Big cut. Obamacare subsidies and Medicare expansion still in there at the moment at full amount. Next, here comes that third cluster. Remember that third cluster is just a bloodbath? Here comes the third cluster. Medicare, dental, vision, hearing from the third cluster. Bernie is really upset about this one because he wants it in there. Lifetime, not modified. He wants it a lifetime benefit. Biden has said no. Biden is now saying maybe 3 years. Bernie doesn't want 3 years. Then Biden said, let's do vouchers. Bernie says, I don't want to do vouchers. So this one is a big battleground. Again, that is dental, vision, and hearing and Medicare expansion. Paid family leave and medical leave, and climate. A lot of the situations are provisions are very fluid. As you heard, Pelosi says family leave is not coming out she's not going to change her hairstyle and she's not going to change her position on that either. But some people still say it can come out. The clean energy provision definitely out and staying out, and that's what's brought Joe Manchin on board. A clean energy electricity performance program is what it's called, and it's definitely staying out. Salt is bad for you. No, salt is staying out. The cap on state and local tax deductions still staying out. And finally, community college. Where are the possibilities for it right now? It's either going to be anywhere from 0 to 2 years. It's not going to be a lifetime benefit, and it's not going to be 10 years of community college. At the moment, it's looking like not in there or up to 2 years of free community college. Kristen Sinema, big issue of her. They call it Sinema Secrets. Veronica Escobar, representative from Texas, Democrat, says she's tired of Sinema and her secrets. What's at issue? It's what Joe Manchin was a few weeks ago, but is no longer. Not telling people what you don't like. And it's about corporate taxes and the wealth tax, which is used to pay for the recon. She said this is a guessing game with Senator Sinema. Yes, we're all supposed to be on the same game. That means transparency, telling people what you don't like and what you do like, communication, collaboration. Without it, we don't know what we're doing. I don't know what the red lines are for Senator Sinema, who has an amazing amount of power. So basically, she's saying she's not telling people what she doesn't like, and that's leaving the recon in jeopardy. And there you go. So, wow, very fascinating situation. One of the things I wanted to touch on, though, was this issue back here of Americans not knowing that the recon exists. One of the issues has been really the fallacy of print media and broadcast media. And this is new at noontime right now. There has been an attempt by broadcast media and print media to just run the recon, not as a story telling you what's in the recon, but to run it like a reality TV show. And minutes ago, Joe Manchin and Bernie Sanders slammed a publication that wanted to sensationalize this story by saying Joe Manchin is leaving the Democratic Party and becoming an independent. Joe Manchin said a word I can't say on air because he's so furious, because it's so wrong and so untrue. Did that publication actually tell the Americans what's in the recon or brief the Americans what's in the recon? No. Just ran it as a story to sort of sensationalize it. Like, this cast member's been fired from Beverly Hills Housewife. This Democrat has become a Republican. No, it was totally untrue and didn't serve any benefit to tell the American people what's in the recon. And that's sort of where we're going. Student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven by the weekend. The president said he'll forgive $10,000 of student loan debt, and I think the Democrats should take the deal. The president over the last year has said he'll forgive student loan debt for everyone, and the Democrats have been holding out for $50,000. Not going to happen at $50,000. But the president's student loan debt offer, $10,000, would be executive order, wouldn't have to go in the recon, and would literally be overnight. I think the Democrats should take it. The president has previously forgiven student loan debt for people who became disabled after graduation. Then, in the last few days, the president forgave student loan debt for people who went into the nonprofit sector for 10 years after graduation. Your debts have been forgiven. And finally, the president did the biggest one, which is forgave student loan debts for people who went into the public sector 10 years after graduation. This is huge. There's a lot of people. This is everyone who works for the city, the county, the state, or the federal government. You work as a librarian, you work at the public schools, you work as a sanitation driver. You may not make enough money to get that student loan debt forgiven, to get that student loan debt paid off. Now it's totally forgiven. One viewer had a great comment yesterday in the video. I didn't know the answer, so I'm trying to tell my best on what the answer is. The viewer said, where do I apply to get the student loan debt forgiven? What I do know is where you don't apply. It has nothing to do with you and your employer. It's regarding you and the lender. And the order is coming from the federal government. It's not coming from the state. It's coming from the office of the president. So it might be at whitehouse.gov. You may want to reach out to Department of Labor or Department of Education and get help on it. If anyone finds this information that knows what it is, send it to me on private message on DM. I'll deliver it on air because a lot of people are asking for it. One viewer found that his debts had been forgiven while watching this channel. It was during the morning's countdown show. He was in the live chat. He said, I've been a federal prison guard for 20 years. You mean my debts are forgiven? They are. Cola Rays. I'm really excited about this one. We have our first news about this stimulus in many weeks, and it's right here. First time on noontime. Cola raise, your benefits are going up one big time, and it's 5 to 6%. It's great, but not, guess what? Because you're going to have two other raises thereafter. What's going on? This stimulus. COLA is raising your benefits up 5 to 6% starting next year. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or Railroad benefits. But this stimulus looks to come right behind that and give you two other raises. The first one is a lifetime. It's a one step up lift. Then they look to raise your benefits up lifetime automatically with a new benchmark starting next December. Not this December, the one after that. That would be replacing COLA with inflation. Inflation is likely to be 1, 2, or 3% next December 2022. COLA like to be 0%. So how is this going to work? Let's go over the calculation. First, your benefits are going to raise up one big time, 5 to 6% starting next year. Huge. It's not a one check lift. It's a lifetime lift. So you're currently getting a check every month. Say goodbye to that check amount. You will no longer see that check amount come next year. You'll be at the new amount lifetime. But don't stop there, because FIST stimulus, if they get it to law, comes right behind it. And that FIST stimulus would raise your benefits up lifetime one big time, then apply a new benchmark next December. And that new benchmark would be inflation. And that inflation rate is not going to be 0. Which brings us then to our big breaking news. Breaking news is our first FIST stimulus update in many, many weeks. And it comes from Representative Budget Chairman John Yarmouth, Democrat from Kentucky, who today says that he sees the FIST stimulus as something that absolutely should be done, will be done, and will be used by Democrats for two purposes. What's going on? He sees that this stimulus will be a big opportunity to have a big win for the American people that will cross party lines, will have to go for a recon, will be a big slap in the face against the Republicans, and will help the Democrats in the midterm elections. Let me go over what he's talking about. Yarmouth says that he has spoken to Nancy Pelosi in the last few days about doing FIST stimulus recon early next year, because it will not only be great policy for the American people like you, but will also be great political strategy for Democrats to win the midterm elections. What's at issue? What are they looking at? He's basically saying, let's do these programs like Medicare expansion, child care programs, senior care, depending on what we need or put in this package. Put it up to as a bipartisan vote to the Republicans, force the Republicans to vote against it, then say, fine, we're going to do it by recon, and then turn to the American people and say, look, Republicans didn't want to help you with Medicare, child care, senior care, SSI or SSDI. They didn't want to help you raise your benefits on Social Security. We did. Vote for us. I don't see where the downside is in the election year, says Yarmouth, because we'll be trying to do the things that are really popular. I think it's a brilliant move. So long as you add all the big sums of money in there, it's brilliant. And of course, the reaction was hysterical. The reaction was, I'm busy. Some senators say, I'm really busy. Don't bother me. Senator Brian Schatz, one thing at a time. Then came John Tester. I haven't even thought about it yet. Ron Wyden, I have too much. I got our hands full with what we're dealing with right now. I can't do that. I'm just too busy. I'm a busy person. There you go. Uh, Meantime, you remember that under fiscal stimulus, they're also going to get rid of a few things. First, they're going to get rid of the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law, so you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. It's going to go away. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law, so you can't work. It's going to go away. And they're going to remove the marriage penalty, and love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and no longer fear loss of benefits. That will allow Rob and Sandy to get married and no longer fear loss of benefits across the board. As we look forward to this weekend, you and I have a big date, and that big date is our 1.5 year anniversary this Sunday. In this 1.5 years, this channel has amassed 140 million views, and boy, we've learned a lot about ourselves over the last year and a half. One of the things we've learned about things is that it's very important to stay informed by the minute and the hour. Things change very quickly. And in a society that is a digital age, in a society where programs can be rolled out digitally by the federal government, things change by the minute. During the commercial breaks, I saw someone say, I'm gone, I'll see you later. Why would you leave before the second half of this video? The second half of this video, where I'm giving you the rundown whether a program has been removed or not. That could be the difference of $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. I remember back to July of 2020, we had heard from LALATE. We had heard from Javita Carranza that they may be reopening the EI deal grant. It opened. It opened on earlier than we thought. It opened on Monday. People applied because they heard my video. They applied later that day. They got approved by that evening for a $5,000 grant that arrived the next day. By Tuesday, people who didn't watch the video on Monday showed up and started watching the video on Tuesday. They heard it, they applied, and they got approved by Thursday. So it was a 2-day wait. By Wednesday, people who had just sort of, gone for a jog for the last 2 days came in and just sort of, oh, hi, how are you? What'd I miss? Oh, there's an EIDL grant live. Oh, I'll go apply. Guess what? No one ever got the money that applied 48 hours after it went live. It never got funded. Things just move very quickly. And that became sort of the basis of the Purple Hawks in January 2021. When I launched Purple Hawks, it was about pouncing and getting information. Information is king. Information leads to money. It doesn't matter what it is. Whether it is investing in a stock, investing in crypto, whether it's getting a round of rent because Treasury sent out additional $13 billion to your cities, counties, and states, whether it's Salvation Army, me telling you in September, go get the holiday gifts in September because they will be gone in October. They are gone now. Information is king. When you hear information, you need to move quickly on information because it's a very big society. It is a society where people tell things very quickly. They spread information very quickly. This is not, the 1940s where you could tell a story and then people may not learn about the story for 3 more weeks. Here, I can tell you that holiday gifts are available from Salvation Army and they can be gone in a few hours because I just told it to you. And that is how things move very quickly. With that, consider becoming a member. The link is under the video. Members are delivered that newsletter Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time from me to you via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. The LALATE system is an example of why things move quickly. It's totally free. It's at news.la.com/alerts. That member newsletter shows you how to get upwards of $40,000 from third stimulus. When third stimulus became live, I launched membership on this channel. And I launched it because I said, hey, there's a lot of money to get on a third stimulus. And the average viewer can get about $15,000. To date, the average viewer has gotten about $40,000, and they're getting more money by the day. Wonderful Mark, who got $51,000, got $36,000 for rent last week. He got another round of utilities just a few days ago. If you got in money from this channel before, you can get more rounds. People are going back and getting more rounds, and I'm getting messages. Send me your messages of your big success stories, and I'll feature them. I haven't done a lot of third stimulus in the last 2 days because fourth stimulus is overwhelming, and you see our running time. Also, in the newsletters feature the nonprofits who help with everything from portable furnaces to heaters and more. Consider becoming a member. That newsletter comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And with that, join me next as Afternoons LA heats up at 1 o'clock. This video will automatically take you there. Then we got the big Afternoons LA show new at 3 o'clock. It's a huge show. Don't miss it tonight. And do not miss the 5 o'clock Evenings LA show because the news cycle is changing so quickly. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes. Stay here. This video will automatically take you to the afternoon's LA show at 1 o'clock. Stay informed, stay smiling, and stay with LA for more.